this one's got the additional.
He wants to just let you know that as well. So he might want to, because we're moving to 12 now, aren't we?
Sorry, what's he want to do?
He want to tell you this. He just wants to be transparent about this, that he wants to declare.
Oh, released, yeah, 12,
right,
yeah,
so you might
okay.
just invite him to do that.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to item 12. Councillor Shepherd, you wanted to say something else on this item?
Yeah, last declaration, Chair, thank you. Just for the interest of fullness for members of the public in the audience and those following proceedings at home, in relation to item 12, yesterday I received email correspondence from Mr. Will Nichols, who kindly provided some background information about Foundation 200. I dutifully replied and CC'd the Head of Development Management, and in the interest of openness, declare this in accordance with the Planning Code of Good Practice.
You doing that one? Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this application is submitted by Harlow Council and seeks planning permission for the construction of 8 modular self-contained dwellings with landscaping. Harlow Council would use these houses to house individuals who are currently homeless or at risk of homelessness as part of their broader strategy for addressing homelessness across the town. The developer is Solo House Homes, and they've been developed in partnership with homelessness charities as a form of transitional stepping stone accommodation, not intended for permanent housing, but as a transition stage between emergency accommodation and general need social housing. They are compliant with building regulations and are energy efficient with heating and power. This is the application site. It is a vacant plot to the rears of number 60 to 64 Lower Meadow. It was formerly occupied by the garages, but these were removed several years ago, and the site has been vacant since. The site is in a predominantly residential area with trees and shrubs along its rear and side boundaries, and Common Side Road is located to the southern boundary. The site is not within a conservation area. Pink Cottage is a Grade 2 listed building on the site adjoining to the west. And there's an aerial photo of the site and its location. This shows the access road to the site. This is the existing site at present. This is the boundary with the rear of Lower Meadow. Rear boundary from the site to the west. Common Side Road. And here is the proposed site layout, which the building would occupy a footprint of 8 metres deep by 30 metres wide, and the units would have an internal floor space of 22.5 square metres. And this application is recommended for approval subject to conditions as well as the additional ones set out in the update sheet. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. William Nicholas. He's from Hill, isn't he? He's from Hill.
Thank you, Chairman. My name's Will Nichols. I'm a Regional Planning Director at LandPro, and I'm speaking in support of this planning application on behalf of Harlow Council and the Hill Group. The proposal being to provide 8 single-storey modular units, as you know. The application has been brought forward by Harlow Council and the Hill Group as part of Andy Hill's philanthropic Foundation 200 project. Foundation 200 delivers modular housing for single homeless individuals and communities where Hill are working across the UK. 8 solar house homes are being gifted to Harlow free of charge, and if permission is granted, will be delivered by the Hill Group as a fully landscaped and finished scheme later this year. We strongly welcome the case officer's recommendation to approve this application and concur with his view that the scheme generally accords with national policy and the Harlow local plan. The proposal will provide much needed accommodation to address homelessness in Harlow, providing significant social benefits. Similar schemes have proven to be very successful elsewhere in the east of England, including in Cambridge and Ipswich. And the high quality design of the units, together with the high energy efficiency ratings, have proven to be very effective and keep bills very low. The planning application follows extensive and constructive discussion with the case officer prior to and throughout the course of the planning application process, and has carefully considered issues including access, ecology, landscape design, arboriculture and layout. Particular consideration has been given to the impact on neighbouring residential properties to ensure no overlooking and loss of privacy would occur. The site is located in a quiet residential area with good pedestrian access to shops, services and facilities including public open space. It also benefits from good public transport links to the town centre with a regular and reliable 20-minute frequency. Location is really important with schemes of this nature, and it has been identified as an ideal place for people to rebuild stability and confidence in their lives. The proposal is located on the redundant vacant site of former garages, which having been demolished over a decade ago. The proposal provides an effective and efficient use of previously developed land, bringing a degree of additional natural surveillance to the area. The Lower Meadow scheme proposal will offer 8 individuals housed there to a much higher standard of living than would otherwise be available in a hotel room at much lower cost to the council. Support will be provided to residents by the same professional housing management team that other council tenants rely on in traditional council housing all over the town. In conclusion, I would therefore like to reiterate that there are clear public benefits of this planning application, which generally accords with national policies and the local plan. The proposal has carefully taken on board comments from the case officer at the pre-application and post-submission stage, and the grant of planning permission will help to transform the lives of those who have found themselves homeless, helping them re-establish stability and break the cycle of homelessness. I commend the application to members, and just to reiterate the point that the councillor mentioned, I hope that all the members here received the additional note that I circulated yesterday by email. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, questions or clarifications?
Yes, I have a question. I mean, the principle is obviously a good one, and such housing is badly needed. But do we have any idea what they look like inside? I find that I'm consumed with curiosity. What is the interior like? I'm not suggesting that I expect the height of luxury or anything like that, and we've heard that the high energy efficiency, which is a real positive, but I hope that the standard within is fairly decent, fairly comfortable. I would like to think so. And why don't we have any images of the interior?
The interior per se isn't subject to details before the committee, but from ones I've seen examples of ones elsewhere. They're well furnished, they've got built-in kitchens, living areas, bedrooms, bathrooms, so they are a good standard of accommodation from the ones I've seen, but that's obviously how they internally design them is not a matter before the planning as such. Yeah, they are from the ones I've seen, the examples I've seen, they are well designed and have all the facilities that is required for these people to live independently.
Yes, I understand that they're intended to be temporary arrangement for people who are homeless, but we would like to think that they would at least be comfortable, decent living spaces, and you have just reassured me. Thank you.
Yeah, just to follow up on Kay's question, really, there's very limited pictures and very limited, which normally we're, especially with council applications, we're inundated with pictures and schemes, and as it's a modular building, and the speaker just said they've built them in many areas, it's quite surprising that there's not further pictures. And I know it's probably not an issue for planning, but we're saying this is temporary. How long are we expecting people to live in these accommodation?
Can you see that? Is that a little bit clearer? It's not the best, it's a bit grainy.
In terms of how long they live, I think that would be bespoke to each individual person, and they would have their own time frame by which they're supported to go into other accommodation, and they will be managed through the company who manage these, and they say that it would vary on each individual person, to be honest, how long they're there for. But the aim is obviously to move them into permanent accommodation. This is a stepping stone to help them get independent and back on their feet.
Just finally, one last contribution for this evening. I'm looking at the Technical Housing Standards nationally described space standard. I've looked at the plans in the application, and of course the public benefit that is presented here is of extreme merit and probably does outweigh this consideration. But would the officers be able to advise, does the individual floor plan of each modular home meet the 37 square metres recommendation of the National Described Space Standard?
They are slightly below, but they are small units for accommodation, and this is in lieu of putting someone up in other temporary accommodation, such as a hotel room or a bedsit. So they actually get a greater level of accommodation than probably what is their alternative. And this does work nationally, and they are successful nationally. But yeah, they do fall below, but they're temporary accommodation rather than a permanent accommodation.
Thank you very much for the clarifications, and I do concur. For added context, it should be worth noting that in comparable, not by far not comparable, but in other temporary accommodation sites around town, such as Terminus House, the size of a single dwelling is often the size of 2 standard parking spaces. So I do absolutely acknowledge that in this application it's a big improvement on what other temporary accommodation is on offer, but I do think it's worth noting that the application does fall slightly below, as you say, nationally described space standards, which of course aren't enforceable at present.
Yeah. So through you, Chair, just to put your mind at ease, Councillor. So when we're assessing developments and we're trying to assess quality of space, the point is there and it's clear. It falls below the minimum standard, but that in itself isn't a reason to refuse the application. We have to think about the application comprehensively. Is there external amenity space? If there's external amenity space, what quality is that? It's not just about quantum, it's a qualitative assessment as well. Is there overlooking? Is there privacy? Is there, so it's a comprehensive assessment that we look at. So the point is valid, but it is a well-rounded, balanced judgment that we've arrived at.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying, doesn't it? It's far better than some of the hotels that they get put into. Certainly the one in Old Harlow, the Oasis, is a terrible place, So at least they've got somewhere of their own, and they've got company as well next door. So, yeah, they're not going to be Rolls-Royce accommodation, but I think they're so valuable. I think it's a brilliant idea because we put some in another part of the town earlier this year. I don't know where they're in yet, but we granted permission for those. So I think it's brilliant.
Chair, just for a quick note, if the members would like to Google the Hill Group modular home and have a look at the image search, you'll be able to see the standard. Sorry. If the members were to Google search the Hill Group modular homes, the images on there give examples already of versions in Haringey and other places, so you can see what the inside and outside preferably should look like.
Just in response, I googled it and there's about 20 different ones, so it's not actually that clear.
Can I just come back, Councillor, through you? So Councillor Saggers was making the point that if you Googled Hill Group modular buildings, you could find what they looked like.
Oh, right.
Councillor Watson has Googled it and found a variation on the internet. Can I just caution members, you're approving what's before you?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So,
Yep.
so the approved plans are what we're approving.
Which you had is the supplementary came through today. Is that right? Okay. So we're agreeing. Well, the recommendation is on page 139, which is to grant permission, which includes those additional conditions. All okay?
Yep.
Do we agree that? Okay. All those in favour? Councillor Watson? She's designing a new one. Thank you very much.